Howdy folks, this is the Yard Gnome, and I'm here today to do a review on the new Apex preamp by Horizon Devices. Alright, so I'm going to sort of do an unboxing with you as well, because I have actually not even opened this yet. It came in the mail yesterday, wasn't able to get to it yet, but I wanted to do this video for you so you can see exactly what you get when you open the box. And I actually ordered this back in August or September or something like that, and there was a waiting period in order for them to get it manufactured and released to the public. And it has finally arrived. It took 6 months or something, but that's some of the reason you do things like pre-sales in order to get the money generated to manufacture stuff when you don't normally have those kind of funds. So if you are unfamiliar with what Horizon Devices is about, it's actually a company started by Bulb from Periphery. I've actually purchased in the past when they released their first pedal, which was the Precision Drive, and I actually quite like it. It's got a built-in gate and everything, but today I'm going to start with just opening this up, and we're going to see what all we got here. So we have here the box. It says Horizon Devices on one side, the other side has all the barcode and the name of what pedal it is. They actually do their manufacturing through Dunlop pedals, so it's the same standard of quality as any of the kind of Dunlop pedals that you buy, any of the Crybaby wahs. They've got a lot of other products that are actually really good. What you get when you open it is, there's a letter here, and let's see, I'll read it real quick. The first one came with a letter as well. So the letter says, "Thank you for bringing us into your life. Only through you and the Horizon Devices community are we able to keep doing what we love, building the best tools we can for the modern guitarist. We spend hundreds of hours engineering our products with the best engineers we can find and work closely with the Horizon Devices community made up of thousands of guitarists just like you to design the best product possible. As Horizon Devices grows, we will be able to bring more and more of your ideas to life. The more you participate, the more your ideas make it to the new devices. If you love Horizon Devices and want to have more devices out there with the community's feedback, help spread the word by using the hashtag Horizon Devices or post a review. We've only managed to do what we do because of the support that we have received from people like you, which we are always grateful for. If you have any problem, a question, or want to drop us a suggestion, don't hesitate to email us at help@horizondevices.com. Thank you, Misha Mansour, also known as Bulb." So, as you can see, it is handwritten. Obviously, this is a copy of it, of the original letter that he made, but still kind of cool that he actually writes these out by hand. And if I remember, I think the original one came with a handwritten letter too. A card that has all of your stuff for product registration, so you can have a warranty on the product. A card that explains what all of the key features are, which talks about what the cab sim does, the gain, the gate, EQ, the tight, and a 9-volt power requirement. So comes nicely wrapped inside the box. I'm gonna remove that now. All right, and as you can see, I have not opened it yet, so we're going to do that now. Get out my trusty blade. Okay, package has been opened. One thing I like about this already is that they include these feet to be put on the pedal, but they don't just stick them to the pedal. And I often find that a lot of pedals that you buy end up having some kind of feet on them already, and it ends up being somewhat of an issue when you're trying to mount them to things and you have these feet that are in the way, and it'd be better if you didn't have the feet on it, you know. So this is kind of cool. You can put those on if you want. A lot of people end up doing you know, Velcro on the bottom and stuff, and those feet can get in the way. So there's a nice little note here on the bottom of the pedal that you could see here real quick. And what it says is, your pedal is the result of over 2 years of design and engineering. We hope it becomes an essential part of your sound like it has for us. Thank you for being part of our community and helping us do what we love. Sincerely, the Horizon Devices team. Pretty cool. Has a nice little battery box on the bottom, which I actually find to be pretty convenient because a lot of these pedals you have to unscrew the whole thing off the bottom in order to get to the battery box. Why pedals don't already have this all across the board is beyond me. I know a lot of it is probably just to shave costs, but the fact that they went out of their way to put that on there is pretty cool. That way you don't have to open up the guts and play around with any of that kind of stuff. So as we can see, switches are nice and robust. You have, for your knobs, there's volume, bass, mid, treble, gain. So it's really just like a preamp channel on a standard guitar amp. Here's cab sim, which has a dial to turn it up and down that I would assume if it's like the precision drive, then that will actually light up with an LED. And then there's also a gate up and down. Tight switch is to engage for more aggressive rhythm tones without adding more gain. Disengage for buttery leads. The red LED indicates the tight switch is engaged. Okay, and then there's a bypass, which is obviously good if say you're on a clean channel and you're running this in and you want to go back to clean. All you got to do is tap that and it'll turn off any kind of gain and distortion and whatever coming out of this pedal. Let's hear how it sounds. Only relative complaint I can give thus far is it did not come with a battery, which, yeah, it doesn't have to, but sometimes that's cool. It's always funny too, seeing some of the batteries that they give with these that are just, oh, that battery's not even any good, so. See, it would have been cool if it came with a battery. That's all right. So one cool thing about it already that I like is it does not require a battery to be in it in order to be plugged in for the sake of using battery power. All right, so I'm plugged in now with the guitar. I've got everything I'm just starting off with at 12 o'clock. I'm gonna currently release the gate all the way off. So. Now, does this necessarily mean that this is a bad tone right out of the box? Just turning everything to 12 o'clock? No, I don't think so. Let's play around with it a little bit more. So I'm actually going to turn the cab sim all the way off. Now what I get coming out of my amp right now sounds pretty good. I don't know if you can hear it through the speakers though. Here it sounds kind of bad. It's that digital direct sound. So cab sim, I'm gonna leave back on. Now when I turned it to where it's just barely on, a little bit of an EQ sweep while I was doing that. So, according to the instructions, when turn the cab sim off when using a real cabinet, turn the cab sim on when going direct or into an interface. The red LED indicates that the cab sim is on. So one thing that's kind of cool about this is I can actually take this with me and not set up my guitar amp at all. If I wanted to do any kind of demos or something, you know, just plug straight into the computer with the pedal. And you know, in the past, I've done a lot of my demoing with doing software sims like Bias and things like that. But that's kind of cool in its own right because I can, you know, cut down on any kind of computer latency by using this instead of a plug-in. So. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn up my treble and my bass, get a little bit more of a scoop tone. And just for fun, I'm going to turn the gain way up. To where it's actually just that's a pretty solid gate when you have it all the way up. So now I'm going to turn on this tight switch and see what that does. You know what it reminds me of is it adds a little bit of that character that you usually look for when you're playing through like PAF Pro pickups. Kind of gives it that kind of corn chunk in a way, which is that signature kind of thing. That. Let's see what bypass is like. Straight back in. One interesting thing about this is in order to match what my amp is doing as far as just being a power amp, that's way louder than what I have here. So I'd actually have to turn this up considerably. And I'm actually plugging this right now. I'm plugging straight into the Kemper, but I have my my amplifier and EQ and cabinet turned off right now, so it's pretty much just using it as a power amp, and there's no other effects on. Turned up the bass quite a bit. Treble all the way. So let's see if we can get, obviously we can get kind of a decent metal tone out of this. Let's try for... something a little bit more just rocky. Some shitty riff like that. It doesn't sound bad at all with trying to get a lower gain sound out of it. The gain all the way off, no sound at all, so it's good to know. The thing I like about this compared to the precision drive that I've used before is that this gate on here is a little more tight compared to what was on the precision drive, which is really just a smaller feature. So if the gate on the precision drive was a little tighter, I would have probably used it a lot more. And I was using it pretty extensively when I was like practicing with my band. I was putting it in front of a 5150, but it was actually a 5150 combo amp that I was using. So what I've decided to do now is I've got both of my Horizon products in tandem. I'm sure a lot of people are wanting to know what the benefit would be of having the Apex preamp and the precision drive. So I decided I would hook that up now and have that in the loop. I can tell, so there's a squeakiness that's going on, and what that is the sound of just the pedal going into the Apex preamp. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this down quite a bit. I'm going to turn this down some too on the gain. And even right there. See, the gate on the precision drive doesn't quite kick in as fast as I would like it to with the way it does on And it even, on the Precision Drive, I almost kind of wish you could turn the gate off of it because it does chop a little bit more. So in order for me to use this correctly, I kind of need to have the gain down really low on the Precision Drive in tandem with that. Now, what benefit do I get? So yeah, you can definitely use it in tandem and get a decent sound. I think the thing that's kind of making it a little bit more usable in tandem is this attack knob. Kind of gives you just a little bit more bite and makes it to where you can actually pull a little bit more of that like kind of genty sound out of it. Makes me curious. I definitely prefer having both the tight switch and the attack all the way up on the Precision Drive. So one drawback I have with the Apex preamp is the cab sim doesn't quite sound like a real cabinet. It definitely helps. It's definitely a kind of EQ that you can use, but it doesn't seem like it's quite in the ballpark, and most cab sims aren't. At least anything like I've just heard straight out of a pedal. I've used other cab sims in the past. Most notably, I've done like DI tracks with, I have this Behringer DI box that has a cab sim built into it, and it kind of sounds a little bit similar to this, but it's not terrible. It's something that's definitely, like, if you're trying to just plug straight in to get some demos going, I think it'd be really beneficial to people that are trying to do that. Would I play a show with it direct to a board? Not with that cab sim. That's not quite in the ballpark of what I think a cabinet should sound like mic'd. If that was what you were going for, it's definitely a little bit more of what it sounds like if you have a 57 really like in the middle of the cone, and that isn't totally ideal. Usually it's really grainy sounding and really high presence. It's definitely worth giving a try to see if it's something that suits your needs as far as being able to track any kind of demos if you're trying to just go for a direct kind of sound and not have to bring a whole bunch of stuff with you and not be able to have access to a large amp or anything like that. In a situation where you're actually plugged into an amp, I think you can get a pretty good tone out of it. It'd definitely be up to the user to determine whether they want to play more with the gain and change the EQ up, but it's definitely something that I could say I would use in my arsenal to perform live with. If you see yourself picking this pedal up, I definitely recommend it. The going price for it is $320, and you can pick that up at horizondevices.com. I think I got mine for, I think it was just under $300 as a promotional deal to buy it ahead of time. But it's still not bad for a preamp pedal, and that's something that I'm sure a lot of people could use in their arsenal in order to get a little more flexibility out of, like, say, like any kind of combo amp that doesn't have the best distortion channel on it. Check it out, horizondevices.com, and get yourself an Apex preamp if you're digging what you hear. So please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy.